All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm excited today for several reasons. One, it's my birthday. Obviously, that's a good thing. I thank God for waking me up and starting another year. And two, we're talking about one of my favorite topics that I've been in human resources for almost 20 years now. So, workplace and work environments and stuff like that are obviously things that I hold dear to my heart. My co-host, as you can see, I'm by myself for right now. He's actually doing a project right now. And as soon as he's done with the project that he's doing, I'll let him tell you when he gets in here. Then he's going to join us a little bit later. But thank you again and welcome back to Him and Her TalkSpace with Nini and Chad. And I am your host, life coach Nini Wyndham. And I am the owner and head coach for the Essence of Her LLC, which I launched back in January and just relaunched today on my birthday. Yay. And I'm excited about that. So as I started out, the topic for tonight is stagnation in the workplace and how to get out of that. So I'm going to pull up the show log. And as always, we're just going to have a series of questions, and the questions are open to the floor. So anyone who wants to answer. And the first question is, what are some internal factors that cause us to become stagnant in our jobs or careers? So what if anyone that's dealing with workplace stagnation right now, like what are the things that are keeping you stagnant and keeping you in a place where you are right now, where you don't want to be, but for whatever reason, you're just either complacent or stagnant, or you're staying for whatever reason? What are some factors that play a part in that?
I feel like for me, I must say, being with the division 14 years, part of it has to do with, there's a couple of things.
Okay.
Being at a place you're just brainwashed to believe like there's nothing better than where you're already at. You know, it's a state job, good benefits. They say good pay, but I feel like we're underpaid. But I mean, it's a blessing to have a job.
Right.
And insecurity too. You know, questioning yourself like, will I be able? You know, doing the one position for so long and just knowing only that. You know, and not being able to really think out the box and, you know, like feel like, okay, would I be able to do something else? And what would that something else be? Like somebody else can easily say like, you know what, I'm leaving this job and this is where I'm going and this is what I want to do. So, you know, for myself is I want to remain with the state. I want to do something in the capacity of where I'm helping people, but maybe something dealing with resources. I know I'm a very resourceful person, something along those lines. Some things I can just like X out, like, no, that's not me. No teaching for me. Don't want to teach these kids today. So it's just really trying to zone in to see what it is that I want to do. So even just trying to, I have a resume that was prepared already for me. I'm just supposed to go through the mock interview. I haven't done that yet because I moved or whatever. I just haven't had an opportunity to do that. But just being able to apply for a job, it's like, golly, I didn't pay for a resume and didn't even try to apply for any jobs, see what's out there. So, and I think sometimes I'm intimidated by the job description. Like, I don't know, like, once again, me being a caseworker, we do wear different hats, social work, therapist, everything. So it's just trying to use what I already have, to kind of branch off. So, yeah.
And what I like to say too, just because you mentioned it or whatever, and even when I'm out there doing my job searches and everything, is that if it's a job that you see and if you think you'll enjoy it, I'll still apply for it. Never eliminate yourself from the position. Let them tell you that you're not a good fit for the position, but never say, oh, I'm not going to get this or I can't do that if it's something that you really want to do. because now you're narrowing down your options.
Okay, so even though I'm reading through the job description and saying, okay, like if I don't meet the qualification, basically, still do it anyway?
Yep.
Come on, you right now. Yeah, I think
absolutely.
And human resources for almost 20 years now. Never to a level of upper level type management position. And last year I have applied. A girlfriend of mine told me to apply as a human resource business partner, right? And what that is human resource representative for business units within a company. So anything within that business unit, they will come to me for any HR issues or anything like that. I never knew it. I'm not a human resource business partner, but I applied for it and I got it. And I've been there for a year now. So, but had I not had the mindset of not eliminating myself, because I literally had to research what a human resource business partner was, because I had no idea what they did. But and I still, the first 6 months, I was lost. I was completely lost. But I still did it. I got it, and I've been here for a year now.
Okay.
I agree with that, Kanisha.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you just apply. Because if you think about it, when you look at certain people in management positions, you're like, man, they don't know what the heck they doing.
Right, how they get here.
But guess what? They're there, they doing whatever they're doing, and we all just go along. Yep. Usually a lot of times they rely on people underneath them to get the job done. So, why not?
Yeah,
I definitely. And then when I was looking for a job, when I was out of work for a while, I just was applying to everything that.
Oh, really?
And also to get myself back into the groove of interviewing. At one point I had 20 plus interviews in 1 year. And some of them were for positions that I really didn't even want, in the classroom. I didn't want to go back in the classroom anymore. But I was also getting myself together in terms of how to develop that pitch for myself. And I was applying for things that I was applying for principal positions, and I hadn't completed my certification process, but I still applied. I still interviewed for those positions.
Okay.
Yeah, because it also gives you insight into some of the questioning that they ask for certain positions, and after a while, it just becomes so natural. And I didn't have any nervous feelings. I just would go in there and be this is what you're gonna get. And eventually, I landed where I landed and had the position that I ended up with. But to answer Kanisha's question about stagnation, I think for me, I wanted the position I have now for a long time, which is master teacher. And I was hyper focused on developing the skills that I needed for this position. But then I also became certified to be a supervisor within the school districts. And I kept telling myself, I'm not going to, apply for any of those jobs because I don't want it. But then I find myself always in a position where someone is my supervisor, and then I know more than they know. And then they rely heavily on me for my knowledge, but they get paid for the job that I'm doing. So I started thinking, I was like, wait a minute now. I said, I don't want to be a supervisor, but I think I could be a supervisor. So now I know I can't go any farther than where I am now as a master teacher in my district. And I'm fairly new to the school district. But I also am from the old school too, where we were told growing up, you stay in a job for 5 years before you can move. But all that stuff is out the window now with these new millennials and Gen Z people. They just get up and move from position of, I don't like this job, I'm gonna go find me another one. And guess what? They find another one and they keep it pushing. So part of that was holding me back to developing a significant amount of time in a job. But now I think that is part of the stagnation fear, like you said, Faye. And also, I think in terms of racial inequities is part of a contributing factor to being stagnant in a position too, because I see a lot of times where as a African-American female, they're not considering me for certain things, like a supervisor position, because they're going to give it to a person that looks a little bit different.
You're going to give it to Becky.
Yeah. And Becky will rely on me to get all my knowledge and expertise, and she'll get paid for the supervisor position, and then I won't. So I think that's part of it too.
Does anyone, speaking on that, do you find that common among other areas? For me, human resources, most of the positions I held were in corporate America, where in corporate America with a name Kenesha, they automatically assume that everything else stereotypical comes along with that. And I think that's another reason why I haven't been in higher management positions because of that, which is sad, because to come into a place, I came into a place finally with 18 years of experience in HR, but prior to that, I was pretty much admin positions. And obviously I have the experience to go with that. And I think that I know that a part of that had to do with me being a Black woman in corporate America. Has anyone else experienced that, or do you think it's common among like maybe in the state or other that are not in, other corporate America, or, she's in education, Chanel's in education. Is that common among just us as African Americans, or?
I think it's common. Like even within a division, you see a lot of Caucasian people moving up the line. We have a lot of African females in the office that's very qualified, and they just pass them by and give it to, like I said, Becky or maybe Maria, So I do see a lot of that. And especially with management, within our management, she's Caucasian, so she looks out for her own. And a lot of people that has been moving up the line came from like her office where she previously worked. So yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
I would say it's common in tech. I work in cybersecurity. It's very common.
Is it? Okay. Yeah.
There's not many. There definitely are more Black women in technology in the DC area than I would say like broadly across the US, but it's still pretty common that we tend to stagnate once we hit a certain level.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else? You guys?
Yeah. I work for the state of New Jersey too. And I think that, I could piggyback a little bit off of what Faye said in terms of like movement within my local office. I don't necessarily think that Caucasian, like our Caucasian colleagues are able to move quicker than we are, at least in, child protective services. I don't think that. I think that a lot of times it could be that it could be a couple of things. I think it could be that we kind of don't push ourselves to move. Like there is promotion based on testing. So there is no, okay, you have good performance evaluations and because you could have excellent performance evaluations. If you don't do well on the state test that they give, you could stay in a position or cap out in your position because they're going to start moving through the list, based on how well you scored. I can say for myself, I think very early on, I test well, and I was offered positions like the next level, because we have like levels, like Phys 1, Phys 2, then you go to supervisor, then it's a next step, and then management and stuff like that. And then there were times that I didn't take positions because they were in a certain area. Like I didn't want to work in Passaic County, or I don't want to work in Essex County. I didn't want to work in a county in which I live. So it's kind of like a catch-22. Like you have to do what's best for you and what's best for your family. I think that in terms of, for me, I just find that I ask a lot of questions, and I think that I hate to say that I'm intimidating, but I think it's something about, and my sister and I and our girlfriends and I have talked about this a lot, like it's something about the way that I speak, the way that I use my hands, the way that I convey myself. And I found that a lot of times, at least I feel, I don't want to sound like a whiner, but like misunderstood. I'm just not the type of person that's like for lack of a better word, like a bobblehead. Like you tell me something and I just do it. Like I ask questions because I always want to work smarter and not harder. But I've always found that like a lot of times, even with male management or supervisors, like I've been called or labeled as difficult or like challenging. Like it's like I always get good work performance evaluations. Like I've never had a negative one, but it's something else. And it's like, honestly, I had to start doing a little bit of self-assessing and figuring out what is it. Like, do I talk too loud? Am I using my hands too much?
Hold up, Cookie, I have to jump in on this one because I actually did a book discussion talking about the title of the book is Me and White Supremacy, and it was written from a Black woman to the white population so they could do reflective work on how they show up and their biases and things like that. So one of the things that popped up in that book, and it gave me the labeling of what you're describing that I've experienced that I didn't know. I knew what I could identify, but I couldn't label it. And it's anti-Black. So it's like those anti-Black behaviors against like Black women where they see us as aggressive or, you know, like your hand movement stuff. Somebody that could be white could do the same hand movements and have the same questioning. And we see them with their questioning when we see videos of like the Karens and this and that. But it's different because they have this preconceived notion about us as women and who we are. So like you're reflecting and asking yourself, am I too much? Or am I doing this a certain way? Or am I really being aggressive? But it's really not. It's really, I think that it's about their preconceived notions about who we are and their biases. And I've been labeled that way too at work. And they're like, oh, she's mean. And I'm like, I've never done anything. I've never had an argument with you. I don't understand where the meanness is coming from when I'm up here just trying to give you resources. So it's in their head. It's their problem, not yours.
Yeah, I hear you, Chanel. But what happens when that directly impacts you moving, like your movement? So it's not like, I am very straightforward. I mean, I'm sorry, I just don't sugarcoat if whether it is an administrator or one of my peers. I asked a question and I asked it very directly. So my thing is like those things can be identified and, we understand it. But what happens when the people that you're working with and the people that really, the people that you're working with, they see it a different way. I'm still being impacted. I'm being impacted by it. So my thing is like, well, what do you do? What do you do? Like, I'm not going to change myself to a certain extent. But how difficult is that to like just conform each and like this person doesn't like it this way, that person doesn't like it that way. So at the end of the day, what I just do is I just do my job to the best of my ability. I do it very, very well. I'm going to pat myself on my back, and my performance evaluations are reflective of that. But I'm going to be honest because we're in a safe place to talk about how it really feels, and it can be hurtful when you're hearing things like that. And it's like, but I only asked you a question. Like, what's wrong? Like, I don't understand it. And your performance evaluation, like the paper is great. It's great to be written about in a nice way, but like, I want to see that in my salary. I want to see that in, I want to be able to move. Like I can do, and this is not like me being like cocky or anything like that. Like, it's true what you guys said. Like, your supervisor is coming to you asking you questions, and you're like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be giving me guidance. I'm telling you what my task should be. You know what I mean? I'm telling you what the next step should be. So shouldn't I be able to earn that salary as well? So I have struggled with that. And even now with looking for, new employment, I am even aware of that. Like, Cookie, you can't go in acting a certain way. You want to be, but then I'm not being my true self. I know how to, be professional. I know how to speak to clients. I know how to, do all those things. The job in itself for me is easy in terms of the day in and day out things that we have to do. The stress comes from either your superiors, administrators, or the clients, and like you expect that because look at what we're doing, what we're dealing with. I heard someone say that I forgot. I think it was Faye that was talking about seeing like the manager, like they're pulling their people in. I don't even have a problem with that, to be honest with you guys, because if I had honestly like a business or I was a manager somewhere, a supervisor somewhere, and one of my girlfriends, I wouldn't pick her just because she was solely my girlfriend, but I don't see anything wrong with we're supposed to help one another. Now, if you're doing it in a biased or, manner, then there's a problem with that. I just feel like a lot of times we don't give ourselves, at least within DCPNP, some of us, not all of us, we don't give ourselves the opportunity to move. And like staying in one office for me was an issue. So I spent 15 years in the same office when I should have been, like in hindsight, I can think of those things. I should have moved more, like you were saying, Chanel. People don't stay, I'm like that old, and I'm not even that old. I have that old mindset, like you find a job, you stay with the job, you do well with the job, you get good, you get your pension set, but people are moving around and doing things and really building their resume and their skill set because they're doing different things, so they're more marketable. And I wish 15 years ago I would have had this mindset, and I feel like, and I wish I didn't have fear, because fear was a big thing for me. What if I fail? Then you get into the job, you get to the job, but you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing it with ease, and you're like, I could have done this 10 years ago. So fear definitely is a big thing. But being stagnant in a position, like I'm so tired of staying somewhere that I can't stand. I want to do more. I want to feel happy about going to work every single day. I want to feel like I'm making a difference. I love social work. My bachelor's degree is in social work. I feel like I could just be doing so much more. I really feel like almost stuck, because now in looking for a job outside of the state that I'm currently in, I'm looking outside of the state. I'm not finding positions that have comparable salaries. So now I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Because I can't go backwards. I can't go almost $40,000 less than what I'm making, but that's what they pay out in that area. So I definitely need some feedback on that. If anyone could give me any suggestions, I would start trying them tomorrow.
I see your hand, Tina. But one thing I was going to say, just as far as, because you mentioned the stagnation, obviously that's what the topic is about. And then Chanel also mentioned as far as the millennials and all that, the moving and back and forth. And that's absolutely correct in that people, when you're looking for jobs, when you're going to human resources, you're interviewing and stuff like that. Yeah, it's great that you've been at a job for 10 years. But if you've been at a job for 10 years with a system that's 25 years old, and we're now dealing with a new system, and you don't have any experience, I'm looking for you to come and grow with the company and be able to work the position. And if you've been in this other position, this previous position for 10 years, and you don't have anything outside of any cultural change outside of what you know, any system that you know how to work outside of the systems that you're looking for, that you're working with, that's another thing that they're looking for. So with the mindset, like you were saying, to stay here, you're going to do good and you're going to grow, that's actually probably hindering when you're going to look for other jobs, because you have the years of experience, but you don't have this experience in other environments. And other cultures, and dealing with other systems, and dealing with, having other softwares, whatever they're looking for, because you've been in that one job for 15 years using the same systems, around the same culture, around the same people. So I would look, yes, it's good that you have the years there, but you also, nowadays, because people are hopping around so much, that's what companies are looking for. People that have that hop around. Yeah, you're not going to stay a year and then move, but 2-3 years here and there, and then you're moving on and moving up. Then that's, what pops out on your resume. If that makes sense. Good. All right, I hope it makes sense. Go ahead, Tina.
No, I heard you. I heard what you said. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure this. I'm on the phone, so I was looking for the unmute button, but I hear what you're saying in that, and you're right. That's why I said, if I had moved around, I was told that, but I just was stuck in my own way. And this is before I even had children. If I had moved around, I would have build my resume, even within the state. Now, in terms of having different positions within the state, like I've done investigations, I've done, permanency work. Permanency, we deal with a little bit of adoption. So I have that piece. And when I interview, I do well. It's kind of like what Chanel was saying, like you interview, like, oh, I just want to build my interviewing skills. And it's like, I don't but I feel like it's something holding me back. It's just fear. I know what it is. It's just like, I can't move past that fear of like, just try something else quickly. Just jump in, both feet, no looking, no guessing, no wondering, just trust God and move forward. So I think once I get over that, I'm gonna do well. And not so much, even though I talked about the salary, not focusing solely on the salary, because when you do move to another state, sometimes that particular, field doesn't pay as much. So I'm just here to listen and hear what other people have to say, so I can take down some things and kind of apply that to, my surgeon as I'm moving forward and, leaving and transitioning.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. And Tanisha put in the comments too, about starting your own business. We're going to touch base on that as well. But go ahead, Tina. Oh, and Tanisha, you raised your hand. Go ahead, Tina, and then Tanisha.
Okay. Hey, everybody. My question, happy birthday.
Hi.
And my question is, what are you looking to do? I mean, what are you trying to do? I mean, what are you trying to move up in? That's why I'm trying to get an understanding. I'm kind of late, so I'm coming in late. So what are you saying you're trying to move up in? Because you had a lot of different positions with the state. So what are you trying to actually do different?
Well, I mean, my background is in child protective services. So I've done that for 15 years. So that's where, I feel like I would be best suited, but I am a little tired of that. So if I remained in child protective services, I don't want to do field work anymore. So I don't want to do investigations, and I don't want to be a case carrying worker. I could see myself doing something else, like recruitment for foster parents, or learning, helping develop policy and, policy within the agency. But I know that those jobs are jobs that, they probably would want more under your belt. Even though I have the 15 years of experience, they probably would want some type of, supervisory experience. So, I mean, to be honest with you, Tanisha, it's kind of like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm the type of person, I stay where I'm comfortable. And it really bothers me about myself, but that's just how I am. So I don't know if I'm willing to try something altogether new. I feel like I'm starting all over. I'm not old, but I have put in a significant amount of time in this particular, field. And I mean, this is what I study, social work. I mean, I know there's so much more. Social work is such a broad field. You can do so many things, but I have a lot of experience in child protective services. And I feel like that's where I'll be the most impactful, if that makes sense.
So let me ask you, so you saying you want to stay in the field that you're in, but you think you want to do more outside the field? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying I think that I would want to stay in the field that I'm in. However, I do not want to hold the same position, which is field work. So
okay, in the field work setting. Okay, I just want to make this suggestion. I know Nene said we're going to talk about doing your own business later, but you know what? Sometimes in what you're doing, even though you have the experience, if we self-educate ourselves, even if you don't go back to school and take us some classes, you've already said you went on interviews for different things, you have to bring something else other than your experience. They already know you worked that in your experience. But what other things can you add to your interview? Or what other things can you add to your resume outside of the experience that you already have that you can neg it in on? Even if you just take a class or something else inside of something else, to learn something else that you're trying to do. Say, for instance, you want to be I can't remember exactly what you said, outside of child protective services. If you want to do something outside of your field that you're already doing, but still in social work, what is it in that field that you want to, the field that you're in, but another position? What is something that's strong that you can bring to them? What is something strong you can bring them they ain't got? They don't want to know about your other experience. They already know that. But what is something unique that you know about yourself that you can bring to them?
Okay, I hear you.
Because I was thinking too. About your skills. Like, you developed a number of different skill sets based off of the different positions that you had in your agency. So write out those skills that you have, because maybe you're narrowing yourself by thinking about a position, but think about the list of skills that you've accumulated over time. And then what you could do, because you're one of those people that tend to be a little more hesitant to just jump, maybe you could think of ways you can volunteer or offer some services surrounding that skill set so that you can find some comfort in stepping outside of your position without fully leaving your agency. So one of the things I did when I was trying to develop my skills in professional development as a trainer, I was doing, I actually had offered some free CDA classes to people. And I took positions with, to build up that, so that my resume went from looking like teacher in the classroom to professional development specialist. And that's the resume that I use now, because I don't want you to consider me as a person that's going to be back in the classroom, but you can consider me as a person who's going to help you develop professionally in the field of education. So think about your skill set as opposed to just thinking about the position. And you might have something where you can volunteer, maybe at an after school program where you can, I think you're really good in giving advice and stuff, especially to like maybe young adults, and that could have, you want to have impact. You can have a real good impact in that area. So maybe something in that, arena where you're offering some type of, counseling services, especially since you have the social work background.
I just want to comment on what Wilson said. That is true, because if you go out and you volunteer and you get exposure, what happens is when you get exposure to some things and you volunteer in services like that, when you need those references to back up what you're doing, those people would say, oh yes, she does this. People would validate and would give you they would vouch for you quickly because they know what you're doing. You see what I'm saying? You won't have to say too much because they would do it. Then sometimes when you apply for a certain position, you may not get that certain position because you may not fit all the criteria they need, but it may be something else a little bit closer to that. You could be an assistant to whatever position that you want. Then you get to learn hands-on, back and back, the training that you're getting. But I agree with what you said too, Chanel, because I did the same thing. I did a whole lot of free services, and when I started out on my own, I don't do no referrals. I don't have no referrals. I don't even put flyers out. I don't do no advertisement because it's word of mouth. They know you because they see the work that you've done, and that's your biggest thing right there. If somebody can say, okay, she's done this, they'll speak for you. That's how a lot of people get these jobs. They don't get the job because they know what they're doing, because when you go into a different job, they have to train you on what they want you to do according to their policy and procedure. You got to learn that. But do you know how to do the job? What skills are you bringing to do what they need done? I might got to follow y'all policy and procedures, but I have the skill. I have the creativity. I know what I need to do to get this job done. What you bringing? That's what you got to figure out. What can you bring to offer this agency that somebody else don't have? I'm not thinking about what nobody else don't have. I'm talking about what I'm bringing. What are you bringing outside your experience?
Right. Okay.
Yep. Thank you. And a good way, and I'm going to get to you, Tina. I know your hand was raised for a while, and I see your chat too. A good way to think about that too is, what would you do? So there's talk about volunteering. What would you do for free? If you could do something right now for free or to volunteer, what would that be? Do that, put that on your resume, and that's another skill set that you gain to add onto your resume and to incorporate when you're job searching or whatever you choose to do. Maybe you do your volunteering, you're like, hey, I can do this on my own as a consultant, and you may want to do that as well, or in addition to, or in lieu of. So something that you would do for free and not,
Okay, thank you, guys.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Tina.
Hi, guys. A lot was said since I raised my hand, so a lot of you guys said things that I was gonna kind of touch base on, but just piggyback off of what the question was she was asking about her being stuck in the position that she's in, but she wants to move forward. Working free, that's cool as well, but if her job is like any of my jobs that I've had, normally your boss or supervisor or whatever may ask you if people to volunteer if they want to work on an extra project. And I know sometimes our jobs can be overwhelming and we're overworked as well, but sometimes you have to sign up or raise your hand for that extra project, to put that on your resume, to have that, basically put it out there that you want to do more, that you have the attitude that you're a go-getter, you're easy to work with, you're for the team, not just, well, this is what I'm doing and we already overworked, or are y'all gonna give me some more money for this? So if a project is presented to you, if it's something that you feel comfortable doing, do that. And also, if you work, I'll put this in the chat, but like if you work with others in other fields, I'm pretty sure you have within the 15 years that you've been in your field, you can use that to your advantage as well. Like, even though you don't actually do that, you communicate with them people, you interact with them, so you basically know their job. Another thing that you guys were talking, this was like probably a half an hour ago, though, but I just wanted to touch base on, I had the issue as well with just people thinking I have an attitude problem, or they were afraid to interact with me or say anything to me. Even though we're not saying anything, sometimes our facial expressions will show our whole attitude. And I'm just speaking for myself. When in my younger years, at work, I was kind of slick with my mouth, was say whatever's on my mind, but I worked well, I had good work ethic, but I would never move up. I would never get selected for a higher position or a different position. You know why? Because I had an attitude problem, and it showed on my face, it came through my mouth, and nobody wanted to work with me. You have to ask yourself, would you want to work with you? You may not be saying anything, but somebody may ask you a question. If you turn around and look at them with your eyes big, like, what you want, that's not a good type of attitude to have. And it's not about changing yourself. That's not professional. I don't think so. It's not. So, I don't know. I just see a lot of African-American women, well, not just Black women and Hispanic women, where they're very smart. They know their job, they do it well. You're the go-to person for all the questions, but you got a stinking attitude, and nobody want to work with you. Nobody even want to go, oh, I gotta act, that's her expertise. Oh God, I gotta go ask her. So I don't know if that's anyone's situation, but I've been that person before. And when I just let whatever go that I have going on outside, or whatever issue I have with someone at work is just work. We're all here for a check. Stop taking things personal, and use your job just like your job is using you. And basically have a better attitude, sign up for additional projects, put yourself out there. That's all the input I had. If all the other stuff, everybody else pretty much answered. Well, already said what I was going to say.
Okay, thank you, Tina. And I was going to say, just to piggyback, and I see your hand, Ray, to piggyback off of what Tina was saying. When I first started in the workforce years ago, I started out as a preschool teacher, and then I went into collections for a mortgage company. And to the same thing that Tina said, I knew that I didn't want to obviously be, in collections. That was not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go into HR, because back then I was 20. HR was like, the big people. I wanted to be in HR. So they had a special project where they were actually interviewing people. They needed a lot of collection people to start with the company, because they had this big thing where they were collecting on mortgages or whatever, and they needed a volunteer to help do that. And I said, I help do that. I help interview. And that's how I actually ended up in that same company. I started my HR career in that company by doing that special project for free. So in addition to what I was doing, I took on an additional task to say, hey, I'm willing to do this. And then a position opened up in HR as a talent acquisition or a recruiting assistant. And I got hired for that position. And I've been in HR ever since then. So do special projects in different departments, or whatever department you're looking to move into, or whatever, just to gain that experience or that, that skill set. So that was a good suggestion, Tina. Go ahead, Ray, and then I see your hand.
Oh, you ladies made wonderful suggestions, and just adding on to everything you all said. I've been in different industries, but none of them really sang to what I really wanted to do, to my spirit. My last position, I worked in consulting, and I was an administrative assistant. On the side, I've always been into beauty. So during the pandemic, I my job was lost. But it was also a chance for me to do something that I wanted to do. So I've started a brand, which was my own makeup line. And it's something I've always wanted to do, even working in corporate America. Sometimes you have to make your own lane. So I understand what you were saying. I think it was Chanel, that basically you just have to do your own thing and get the experience and work for yourself. I really am a person who likes to do things on my own and for myself. I want to go for my heart's desires and my own passion. I don't ever see myself working for anybody again. And I promise myself that. I'm like, you know what? Take this time. It's a blessing, and do something for yourself. Just to do something. If you're finding that you're not getting somewhere in the position that you're in, just go out on a limb. Go out on a limb and do something for yourself. Go out on a limb.
Thank you for that, Ray. Go ahead, Cook.
I was going to say something else, but once Ray, Nisha said what she said, it's so hard. I want to speak to what she's saying. That is such a beautiful thing that you were able to, I guess, like, start your own business and, really venture out and do that. For me, it may not seem like to others here, I'm not sure. It's very difficult for me. Like, that's just something I have to pray through, because like I said, I'm the type of person that's like, I don't like a lot of movement. I don't like a lot of switching. I kind of want to, do something and stay there. And I know you guys are probably thinking like, well, if it's not working for you, why don't you just do something different? But sometimes for people, that's a hard thing. When I think about, a lot of people starting their own businesses and things of that sort, I wouldn't even know, where to start. I've written some things down. I think that for me, it's just going to, take a little bit of time. And like I said, I do appreciate everybody's input. Like, not taking notes, like writing them down, but mentally, like, making little points, and so that I can, like, kind of ponder on them and, pray on them a little bit later on. But I will tell you this, Tina made a comment about, mention about like taking on additional projects. I think that that's a great thing, and it does show initiative, and it does show that versatility, in the workplace. But I also think too, like for my job, that's something that you have to watch. And I think Faith can speak to that, because when I tell you they will burn you out and use you up and toss you to the side, and you will be like literally burnt out.
Amen.
That is something that you have to watch, because I mean, there are people there that are sitting there collecting checks and they're doing nothing. They're not seeing their clients. They're not, doing their documentation. And so, like, I'm be honest with you guys, maybe that is my downfall, but I can't take on your work, earn my paycheck, and then you sitting there coasting. I can't do that. You know what I mean? So maybe I can look at it a little differently. I can, pick and choose the things that I want to assist with. But what I'm not going to do is do somebody else's work, and they said they're getting paid, and then I'm sitting here, stressing out, dealing with my caseload, your caseload, and you sitting back twiddling your fingers. But thank you guys again for all the input, because it's been very helpful.
You're welcome. Go ahead, Tina.
I've been there too, Cookie. I'm just replying to what you said about you'll be doing your work, everybody else working, everybody else is twiddling their fingers. The thing is, I would say handle what you can handle, but you can't worry about what the next person is not doing. That next person going to sit in that seat until they retire or until they get scooped up out that chair. You can't worry about what the next person is doing. You have to make your own pathway to get out of the position that you're in if you want to change the position that you're in. Like, just to show them that you want to do more. Not saying do everybody work, but just like the same thing like Nini said, I showed interest in like what I was doing before. What I was doing had nothing to do with quality, but I showed interest in quality, and I was signing up for projects and doing all this other stuff. I wasn't getting paid no extra. A lot of Black and Latino women was pulling me to the side that was older and was telling me, "You're stupid. You're not getting paid more money for this." The same people that's doing what you're doing are getting paid X, Y, and Z. And now basically I'm over them. I'm like their manager. I'm going over their calls because I signed up for projects and put myself out there. Not saying that that's your situation. I'm just saying you can't worry about what the next person is doing. And I'm glad that I didn't listen to what the older women that's supposed to take me up under their wing was saying. Like, basically telling me don't do them projects, don't let them work you. The white man work you, and they gonna, they not paying you what they paying Mary over there, that white woman or whatever. But okay, well now I'm over Mary, so like now what?
I hear you, Tina.
Thank you, Tina. Any other internal stagnation issues that you've come across within your job? If not, then are there any external things? So internally you felt stagnant, or you felt like you didn't have the confidence to move or anything like that. And I think we kind of touched base on it as well when we talked a little bit about being Black within a certain setting or whatever. Are there any other external things that you think are keeping you stagnant or keeping you complacent in where you are? Go ahead, Faye. I saw your hand.
Well, my hand was for something else that Tina was saying, but it's okay because you moved on to something else. Something else I feel like is the test that we have to go through, that they give every so often. So you have a lot of people like myself that are not good test takers, but does pretty okay at the job, like being more a hands-on person. Just have never been a good test taker, and I just feel like it just sets people up for failure.
Now, are those tests for you to move to higher positions, or are they testing where? Okay.
No, that's what it is in order for you to get promoted. So it's going back to like what Tina was saying, like doing the little projects. Our job is not really set up like that, I personally think. You have to, like, even if you were to do something, like the only thing that you probably do is maybe cover for somebody by going out on the field, or if they're not in the office, maybe doing some work that they may have left behind. But project per se, no, you have to take a test in order to get promoted. So the next one would be the phase 1 position, like we're phase 2, then it'd be phase 1, and then from there you can apply for whatever other thing. So it's like a step-by-step thing, but I feel like that's the next thing is the exams.
Okay. Any other external things holding you back from moving forward, or for moving up within your role? For anybody else? External. So things like tests or anything else that you may
Could laziness be part of it?
That would be
internal.
That's internal.
Internal, okay.
I would just say
That's internal.
If you take the test and you fail the test, the first time you take the test and you see what it entails, just study it. Well, not saying it's that simple, but you can study it. You can retake the test again, correct?
I took it several times, Tina.
Oh man, because my job is
that thing so many daggone times, Lord.
So it comes out every 3 years, and what happens is it's not every time each time they give the test is something different. So it's not specific to your job title. So say for instance, you do quality, you may take the test and it's quality, and I don't know. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with my job. Like it will have nothing to do with quality, but it'll be like some kind of test that we have. It's like I work for New Jersey. Well, in New Jersey too, and it's state regulated. And for you to go to any other position, they make you take a test. But I'm not saying it's the same test that you guys take. I'm just saying I have to go through the same thing. I have to take a test, and if you don't pass the test, the next time the position come back around, we got to take it all over again. Yes, you have to take it out. The list will be exhausted. You have to take the test again, and then you got to think it's so many people within the state. I think like for the last exam, there were was it 1,500 people that took the test, like applying for this, not applying for one position, but taking the test for this next, which would be Phys 1. But you're allowed to take the Phys 1 exam and also the supervisor's exam. So I took both. But then it's once you take the test and then you pass, and so you're able to be placed on the list, then it's based on the county. So then you have 21 counties, I think it is it 21 counties that you can, so I may have picked maybe 10 counties, and now I have to see how many people out of that 1,500 that took the test apply for Union County or Ansas County. So it's just like a whole game. However,
it's the same way. And
yes, but I will say
they go by your test score. They go by your test score. So whoever scored the highest, they will get it. And then if it's like the same test score, then they go by seniority.
They do a rule of 3. They do a rule of 3, and then they interview you, and then out of the 3, they have to say why they picked or whatever. But I will say for me too, and then I'm gonna let someone else talk. I have had missed opportunities because even within the state, they give what was called provisional or expositions. So there have been on 2 separate occasions where I was asked to. I didn't, they had a vacancy, like maybe someone went on medical leave or someone left the job and they weren't able to fill the space, the vacancy. They'll ask within the office if someone wants to take the position, but it's considered an exposition. So you get the salary increase, but it's not permanent. So there were times when I would there were 2 occasions where I turned that down, where I could have at least, like I remember somebody saying, do X, Y, and Z, and then you can at least put it on your resume. I should have sat in the position, even though it was temporary. And so I could have put it on my resume. So I didn't think of that at the time. It was just like, it wasn't what I wanted, where I wanted it at the time. So I just said no. So you learn things in hindsight, and then moving forward, you just try to improve upon them.
Right. Well, I mean, if that opportunities present itself again, then I would just do it. And then it's like, it's not like they weren't paying you extra. They would pay you extra for the temporary time that you were doing the position. So, yeah.
Go ahead, Chanel. Thank you, Tina.
So I'm just gonna let you guys know that just in case my student pop up, I'm gonna have to leave. So if I leave abruptly, you know why.
Okay.
It can be kind of rude, but you know. One of the external factors I think can contribute to stagnation is location. I've noticed that a number of people that have done really well in my field have gone from this state to that state. You even see it with some like city superintendents, like the district superintendents. They might have been in Washington State for a stint, and then they over here on the East Coast for a stint. So people tend to move, and it helps them progress in their career. I attended, national conferences for my field, and I've met a number of different people. And one lady, she said to me, she's like, you need to get your doctorate. So I was like, yeah, but I haven't found any doctoral programs in my state that I'm really interested in. So she was like, well, maybe you need to go to another state. Like maybe you need to go someplace else to pursue your doctorate. So that she's like, but you definitely need to get your doctorate. So I'm like, yeah, I would love to get my doctorate, but I'm not ready to move out of state just yet.
Yeah, state is, I didn't even think of state. That's a good one, actually. Your location. Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
Yeah, I would also add not having a good mentor is a factor as well. Once I started really pursuing mentors at my job, it's made a significant difference in my ability to move around. Because most of the time now, people ask me to come to positions versus me having to search for them. They call me and they ask me, are you willing to do this for us? So it's opened doors that I wouldn't have had otherwise, just by talking to people and learning. And because of that, I've been able to bounce around more. So I'm in a much better position now than I was like maybe 5 years ago as a result.
Nice. Yeah, good. Mentors. Yeah, that's important. So finding that person at your job or within your field that can mentor you. I think that's good too. Yeah. Anyone else? Outside or external things that keep you stagnant? No? Okay. So what are the pros and cons? So everything has a pro and con, right? What are the pros and cons of staying where you are? So let's say you're not happy, but you're making good money and you've done this for 15 years and it's what you're good at what you do. What are some pros and cons of being there or staying there?
Before you move on to that point,
Huh?
I said, are you using me? You said 15 years. When you said the 15 years, I was like, hey, it sounds like you're using
No,
me.
not you, Cookie. No, Cookie. But Kanisha, before you move on, something did pop into my head as an external factor.
Okay.
And it's family. Sometimes family can be quite negating and influential. I know, like, I love my grandmother to death, but if you talk to her about some plans to move to X, Y, and Z, like, she was so dead set against me moving to South Jersey because she's so used to being in one spot all her life and not understanding that sometimes you have to move to, do different things or advance. She doesn't understand that. So sometimes if you have family members who are very influential and they're in your ear, that can contribute to stagnation.
Absolutely. I agree.
That's true, Chanel.
Yeah. What are the pros and cons of being stagnant? So you're stagnant, you've been there for 16 years, let's not use 15, 16 years, and you're there. You know the job. Everyone comes to you because they know that you know the job. But you are stuck. You feel stuck. What are the pros and cons to that? If there are any pros and cons to it.
I could jump in there just because I work for the government, and this is a big thing where people just stay in the same place because they don't know anything different. So the pros are obviously job security. Like, you might, depending on where you work, get a pension, and you don't have to worry about what am I going to do 3 years from now or 5 years from now. But the con is comfort can be the enemy of progress. So you might potentially have the opportunity to do something better and more fulfilling and never have the chance to realize that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. Anyone else?
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Anyone else?
I know education, that's definitely true, especially when you hear about like tenure, and you get tenure in certain school districts. Once you get tenure, a lot of people don't want to rock the boat and they stay where they are because it's, a little bit difficult for them to be removed from their position. So I definitely agree with that part. I was going to say something else, I forgot.
Benefits are a good one. Some people stay in different positions at different jobs because of the benefits they have. I know with some state benefits you get like healthcare, insurance, and depends on what agency at the state you work with. Some benefits may be different than others. Some people have to be in certain organizations or some businesses to be vested to get some businesses have stock that they'll give people stock. I think it's the benefits what keep some people stagnated, because if you go to a higher position, you can always get knocked back down. Like some state organizations, you can get knocked back down. My husband works with the Department of Corrections. You can be a sergeant today, you can be a lieutenant, you can go all the way to a captain, but you can have have things that happen at your job and you can get knocked down from the captain all the way back down to a CO. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So all the benefits you had and all that stuff you had, all that pay going right back down. You start off making $30,000, you making $70,000. But if something go on at your job, your $70,000 can knock you right back down to 30. You know what I'm saying? And then some people get so close to retiring that something happens and they lose out everything. So I think sometimes benefits, keep people at a thing. They say, well, I know this is what I have. And it's a process. Sometimes people are afraid to move because they are unsure of what the next step is. If I know I got this in my hand, I'm all right. I'll be okay. I'll just pick up a second job, because I know I have this. Then saying, let me play a little gamble with this. It might work, it might not work. I don't want to be too tired. I don't want no extra work. You know what I'm saying? Just like with my business I do. Since you want to pick up 15 more people, you can make X, Y, Z. No, I don't want 15 more people because I don't want no more work. I mean, I can get the money, yeah, it's all good, but forget it,
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. I want a more extrovert.
Right.
Am I right? So, that's me. But instead of me taking them extra 15 people, you know what I did? I found me something else to do to make that extra money. Okay, well, I could do this.
Mm-hmm.
That's
that
less work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? This less work and get me the same amount of money. So I think that's what that can hold people back too, because they're trying to decide how much of something they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. How much more of this I want to do. I ain't getting y'all no more of my time. I'm tired looking at y'all all day. But I get somebody else some time because it's a different person.
Right.
But that's just my take.
Yeah. Okay, that was good. Thank you, Tanisha. Go ahead, Cook.
Now, do you guys think that's necessarily a bad thing? So we're talking about cons. So you think about it, like Chanel said, when in education, when you're tenured. So with the state, I think Tanisha said it as well, you're vested. So after 10 years, you're vested. You have a pension. You have your additional retirement. Like once you get to a certain age, like those are things that you think about. So when Chanel talked about like millennials, when you're young like that, maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way, guys, and I'm asking so you guys can chime in. Like I am looking at, okay, I have a job. It's stable. It is very hard to get fired from that job. Like you would have to do something really, really, really crazy. Not that I would do anything. Like I make sure that I'm seeing my families. I do what I'm supposed to do. But there is security in knowing that I have very good health benefits. That's important when you get to a certain age and you have children. That is crucial. You compare that to some corporate positions where you're paying like, what is it? Like you have this 80-20 health insurance where you're paying like, you have to pay $6,000 into the insurance on top of what you're paying for your premium before you only have to pay a $15 copay. Like things like that matter. You have children. You want to, make sure that you have a certain salary so that you're able to, sustain your family. Like it's so many things that I consider, when you're looking for employment, like I said, health insurance is very, very important for me. But I feel like you want to be happy too. So it's not only those things. And so I want it all. I want the job that pays good. I have the good benefits, that has the good retirement. I can buy the stocks. I can do that has the job stability, but I want to be happy. I want to come home and not be stressed out. I want to have peace. I want it all. And I feel like I can get it all, but there is a fear in me to just pick up, put away what I've put so much time into and start anew. I mean, it's like very risky, especially now with the pandemic and everything. Even, I don't know. It's just difficult. Just pick up and just say, oh, I'm going to do this. I've never really been that type of person. Yes, hard worker, go getter in a sense of like, I'm going to do what I need to do for work. But I wish I had that fearlessness. Like, I feel like my sister is like that. Like she is I'm not saying that I'm not a confident person. I'm confident in a different way. We show our confidence in different ways. Like she's fearless. Like I'm not like that. Nene probably would get up and say, look, you know what? I'm so tired of this job. I'm about to do this and I'll figure it out as I go. Whereas I'm kind of like, but what if this happens or what if that happens? So I feel for me like that fear like has a hold on me that I'm trying to shake, and sometimes I feel like I'm shaking, but then it just draws me in again.
I think what I think, and I can it's different for me because I don't have children and all that. So it's easier for me just to pick up and say, wherever the bricks lay, let the bricks lay. But I think that when we become because a job it may be here today and may be gone tomorrow, and that's something you got to think about too. Also, if you start your own business, the same thing. 1 year you may make $100,000, and the next year you may make only $50,000. But one is hard and one is hard, and both are both hard things. And it's just a matter of choosing your heart and where you want that heart to be. So if your heart is saying, okay, I have job stability, I have benefits. I'm going to be stressed out. I'm probably going to work overtime 3 to 4 times out of the week, and I'm going to be away from my family. But I would prefer that hard over stepping out and then starting a new business that, you know, I'm going to have to put extra time into until I get to a place where I'm comfortable enough to replace my current income and, you know, whatever I have. It's a matter of choosing your heart and where you're willing to do. I'm not willing to work for anybody. I don't like to be told what to do. I don't think that I should only have to take an hour lunch. Like, I don't want to wake up every morning at 8:30 to be at someone else, to put my 8 hours time into someone else's dream. And that's my motivation. Like, if I'm going to work 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, I want it to build my own dream. Like, this guy, you know, I use this example all the time. This guy, you're probably putting in 8, 9, 10 hours, and it's different for the state. I mean, because you guys are your service people, but you're putting in these hours, and then the person whose dream this was is on a beach somewhere in Aruba with a Malibu drink in his hand. And I'm working from 8 to 5 every single day. That's not something I want to do. So I choose to work from 9 to 5 and then from 5 to 9 to build that job. And then, you know, and I told myself at the beginning of this year, this is going to be the last HR position I hold. Like, my goal is to replace my HR money, my HR salary with my own business. And I don't know what that looks like. And this is where faith comes in. I don't know what that looks like. And I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to get there. I'm not going to go and look for another HR job. I don't want to do HR. I've been doing HR for almost 20 years now. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it anymore. So I want to do something that I'm going to enjoy. I don't know what that looks like, but I know that it's going to happen. So I choose my heart to work extra hours Monday through Friday and Saturday whenever I'm doing the life coaching after my 9 to 5, in addition to my HR, so that sometime next year, which is my goal, I cannot have to do the HR part anymore, and I start the other business. So I choose my heart now so that it can work for itself in the future. So it's just a matter of there's no wrong or right choice, obviously, but choose your heart and what's your heart going to be. If that's going to be your heart, then that's going to be your heart that you choose.
I think it was a lot from both of you guys that I can unpack, because I hear Cookie, and one thing I would say is that you would have to identify what your why is, and also how you want to grow as a person. So what do you want to develop in yourself? We know that most of the time when we grow, it doesn't grow out of just comfort. It's some type of discomfort there. So you have to identify how you want to grow so that you can have a starting point. And then also filtering out what others' idea of success is. So I done got a number of degrees. You went and got back and got your master's. But then when you think about it, at the end of the day, those degrees and things that we got, does it feed the why that we want to end up with? Like that thing that's going to fulfill us at the end of the day. And like for Kanisha, her ultimate goal is to be self-employed. So she doesn't have to really, she could just make her own rules and all those other things. But yours might be different. So you have, and then also, like you said, Cook, you do have those things in terms of benefits and family responsibilities that you have to take into consideration. So you have to think about what it is within that sphere of your life that you are able to adjust and maybe make some adaptations so that you can move towards maybe growing in a different way. You may still be within your organization, you may still be within your field, or you may do something totally different. But then you have to really identify what that light at the end of the tunnel is going to look like for you.
Okay. My comment to Cookie, I guess everybody's calling Cookie, is prioritizing right now, like you said, because I'm a mother, I'm a wife, and I have kids too. Prioritizing what is important right now that you know, because I'm not saying you have a fear, but you stagnated. You unsure. So sometimes if you really not unsure, the best thing to do is to stay on deck. If I don't know I can swim, I'm not gonna go out there and try to swim. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know how. Somebody might save me, somebody might not. I might make it, I might not. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not telling you. I'm just giving you this advice. If you have your 15 years already in, I don't know how old your children are, but if that's something that you're not too sure and you still trying to make a decision on, go ahead and continue to do what you're doing. Use the advice that we're giving, or you pray about it, and whatever the Lord tells you need to do, or whatever, use that and build. So say for instance, when your kids return 16, 17, 18, or even grow out and you don't have that responsibility on you anymore as a parent with your young children at home, you can step out and say, you know what, I have this under my belt. I have 25 years. I have 30, 20 years, 25 years of experience. Then you may feel more comfortable to go out and do something different because of your responsibility won't be so great. Sometimes our level of responsibility causes us to do certain things. Okay, I would do this, but I know this is what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? I would do this. I know your job is stressful, but at the same time, what leeway do you have to relieve some of that stress? You see what I'm saying? Is this job too stressful that I can't manage my household with my kids? Is it becoming that you can't do things at home? Or is it the job is that you want to just advance? You see what I'm saying? So I guess what I'm saying is when we try to prioritize ourselves, what is the purpose of me advancing? Is it for me? Is it for my family? Or is it something I've always wanted to do and I'm trying to search it out and find out?
That's very good points, Tanisha. Thank you so much. Very good points. You too, Chanel. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Anyone else? I think we touched on the pros and cons or whatever. So and I want to because we're rounding out at 9:30, and I want to talk about what I hold dear to my heart. Has anyone on here, and if you have, please chime in, considered entrepreneurship and what that looks like? Have you? Yes, we talked about it, we touched base on it, but have you actually tried? Like, have you done the footwork, hired a life coach, or looked into maybe research on what some consultant job you can do, or things like that? And if you have, I would love to hear your experience on how you did it and what you did, and we can go around the room. Go ahead, Chanel, say your hand first.
Yes, so I do have a consulting business, and we on pause right now. But in 2018 is when I started it. February 15, 2018 is when I signed up and did the whole state paperwork and all the other stuff. Prior to that, like I said, I knew I wanted to be seen as a professional development specialist in the field of education. So what I was doing was I was doing the CDA classes and for other agencies. And then I also found a networking community of practice. It started off as a networking event, and then it turned into a community of practice of other consultants around the state. And we would meet, I think it was monthly, we was meeting at that time, and we would talk about different topics surrounding consultancy. We would share things that we use to, price out services, and the forms that we would use, and just different things we would just came together and talked about. So yeah, I did that, and I actually feel like I was like a little bit ahead of the game because I was offering online coursework in early childhood, and it wasn't really taking off. So, then like COVID hit, and then everything became online. But then I started to think like, well, maybe I need to reimagine my business, and I'm actually thinking about ways to maybe rebrand or think about altering the services that I offer. But it's not 100% done, but it's been 2 years and I haven't showed profit. So they actually didn't even charge me like the yearly fee So I said, okay, this is my time just to sit back. Hopefully, maybe during like the summer, I can put more, effort into it. But yeah, that's my experience with consultancy. And I noticed that a lot of people come to me for things. So I'm like, okay, how can I take the things that they come to me for, this knowledge and expertise that they want for free? How can I parlay that into something profitable, or maybe even something that might be passive income that I could put out there and it could just like do its own thing. So I just got to get my brain working and the wheels turning and see what I come up with.
Okay. Now, do you feel when you were starting your business, did you put a lot of time into it? Do you think that it took away from your children when you were doing it? And what made you continue to push on? Because I know you started it, you had your website and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
You said, what made you continue to push forward?
Well, what I was offering is something that I'm passionate about. Like, I like training and I'm good at training. So I train for other agencies, Rutgers and the curriculum that we use. But so I know I'm good at it, but it's just a matter of just trying to figure out what that would be for me. But then I also think about the other things that I enjoy too. Like, say for instance, with Rosetta Stone, I love talking to people all around the country. Around the world. And just having that, and I noticed that I'm just a talker, I'm a chatty person. So that's something that I really enjoy. Like, is there a way I can parlay that into profit? So, it didn't take away from my kids because my kids are older, and it didn't feel like it was work because it's something that I enjoyed. But then at the same time, as I took on more supplemental income, it took away from the time and effort that I was putting towards it. And then also I got a little discouraged too because I wasn't making a profit. So, but then I was thinking about how people say, they tried their business or their ideas and the first 4, 5, 6 times it failed, but then eventually they came upon the one thing that actually made them really successful. So, like you, Dita, I just don't want to work for anybody anymore. I want to be able to pick up and go and do what I want, have a 2-hour lunch break, and then also I just want to do something where it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree. Thank you, Chanel. Anyone else? What is that? Have you thought about it if you have not started your own business? And if you did, what was that push and how did you go? What steps did you take to do that, to get that done?
Well, I'm tired of talking, but I'm chopping in. I have my own business, and I've been in existence since 2010. And I am a service facilitator with state Medicaid, and I help elderly and disabled clientele and citizens get personal care help in their home. I'm also a health and wellness consultant, which I do with long-term care and insurances for elderly as well as disabled people. What pushed me to do what I'm doing now is because I've always liked to help elderly people. My mom was elderly and she was sick. And so I always had to find someone to come in and help her, get her stuff set up. Had to call to the doctor's office to get things straight for her. Had to call, try to get her Medicaid straight, try to help her get her Medicare straight. And it was like the people that I would always go and talk to, which were the agencies, that they didn't know what they were doing. So I had to always go behind somebody else, do somebody else's work when I ain't worked at that company. I don't work at that agency, but I got to tell them what they got to do every day to get my mom's stuff straight. So long story short, my mom got sick and I had relocated, from the area that I was in, and I had to come back and help her. So when I came back, I left my job. I worked at telemarketing. So I worked at the phone company. So I had left my job and came back down here with my mom. So I was out of work. So that was something I was doing for free, but at the same time, I was still helping my mother. I became so knowledgeable in researching and finding and knowing who to talk to and who to network to do stuff with to get stuff done, that after my mom had passed, a lot of the companies that had opened up home health care agencies were asking me to come help them get their stuff together. Okay. I was in there helping them. I just needed a job. I was in there helping them, not knowing I was building these people's businesses. Okay, so end up, and I forgot about this recorded, but I build their business up. They're passing me around like a whore. After they get their stuff started, they'll fire me. Yeah, oh, go get her. She can help you do so and so and so. Okay, I go over there and work with them. They get their stuff. They let me go. So my son said, Mom, you know you're doing this thing right. So I just stepped out on my own and did my own thing. Because I didn't know I was actually doing the work. But it's been a good thing. And one thing I can say, whatever your passion is, whatever you find yourself doing for free, that's what it is. I mean, nobody had to call me. I mean, they had to ask me how much you charge for this. People call me all the time asking me, can you do so-and-so? Can you do so-and-so? How they know I do these types of things, I don't even know I can do it, but they have faith in you. They know you can do it because they're coming to you asking you, you know, can you do certain stuff? So it's been really rewarding. It's work. Your first Chanel, it's your first couple of years, you're not going to make a whole lot of money because you got to learn what to do. It's got to be a trial and error. You got to learn, okay, this work, this don't work. Maybe I need to tweak this and maybe I need to do this, but don't give up on what you're doing. Whatever your plan is, if you already wrote your plan down, look at your plan. This is what my plan say do. Okay, I may not make a lot this year, but you know what? Next year, let me try to make $10,000 more. Okay. All right, well, the next year, I may not make $20,000. If I make $5,000, if you see yourself progressing, all you're doing is looking at your notes. What did you write down? What's your step by step? And the biggest mistake that we can ever make as doing a business is don't have a plan, just go with the flow. Because guess what's going to happen? Just like inflation go up, down, whatever, that's how your business is going to go. Because everybody's money works different. Everything works by money, dollars, and cents. That's what consulting is. If nobody don't need your service today, guess what? You don't get paid today. But you have to make sure that if somebody don't need my service today, guess what? I still got to get paid. So I got to find something. Somebody going to need my service with every single day. The pandemic is here. I'm just going to say this one thing and I'm finished because this is for Chanel. The pandemic is here and you offering a consultant for school. Man, what in the world? You should be a millionaire. Just off of one thing. These kids going to school online. I know you know what you already said you were ahead of the game. That is, they're online. They're online. So just go back and look at your stuff and what you was doing when you was ahead of the game. What can you do right now with these kids being online? Shoot. I can consult to y'all. Y'all can't get this plan together. Let me show you how to do it. That's all you gotta do. Because people don't have time to think. They got a lot of stuff on their mind. That's what consulting is. They're paying you to give them advice. That's all consulting is. If people eat right, go to sleep, take a nap, get up, they'll be refreshed and they'll know it. But everybody ain't gonna do that. So that's how we get paid, because everybody don't do what they're supposed to do. So I'm gonna say it like that. Go get that money. That's all, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Tanisha. And I can even share my own experience, and I touched on it a little bit too, where the push for me is that I don't want to work for anybody for the rest of my life. I don't want to work for anybody else. I'm not a morning person. I'm not a start my job at 3:00 person. I'm not a, go overnight person. So I have to find something where I can do my own schedule and still get paid. And the thing that I do for free and that I've been doing for free is giving advice or based on my experiences and stuff like that. So that's how I came and stumbled across the life coaching and then just tailored it to what parts of life coaching I can do. The fact that I've had HR experience for almost 20 years, I can incorporate career path coaching because I have the experience to do it. So take my experience that I already have and advise people, consult people on how to do a career change, on how to, maybe go from an employee to an entrepreneur mindset. So take the experience that I've already built over the 18 years and make that make money for me. And so I've been doing certifications and, you know, had everything started to get there. And like Tanisha said, the first, you know, I'm just started in January. The first year, I'm not expecting to clear my HR salary, right? But I know that somewhere along the line, within the next 3 to 5, definitely that's going to happen. I don't know what that looks like. I'm leaving that up to God, but I know that it's going to get there. So that was my push, and that's, you know, that's why I'm thinking about, you know, doing entrepreneurship, or I am doing entrepreneurship for that reason. I don't want to work for anybody. Anybody else before we do our final thoughts? No? All right. So we're rounding out the night, the end of the night. And I'm just curious for anyone on the call, and anyone feel free to speak. What are your takeaways from tonight's call? What is something that you came in not knowing and walk away now knowing? Anyone? Or maybe not that you didn't know, but you have a different point of view on now, or a different thought process before you came on the call.
I don't know if it's something in terms of like I didn't know, but it, like, talking to everyone has made me think about like just like reassessing. And, you know, sometimes you want to do things at a certain time, and like I think Tanisha and Ray said, even Chanel, so many people have said similar things, like just kind of like Tanisha said, write down your plan. So maybe your plan is you're writing down your plan because you're starting your own business. Maybe I'm writing down my plan because I need to do the pros and the cons of shifting or transitioning right now. Yeah, the job may be stressful, that's a con, but I have really good benefits. And although no job is stable, right? You could lose a job at any given time. Right now, it is stable for me. And so the benefits, my salary, time with my kids, because we're able to work remote, you know, do remote work. It's pretty much like 90% remote, like 10% field work, you know, like those things, all things considered, like what is the best thing for your family as it is now? And like someone said, I think it was Rainisha or either Tanisha, once your children get older, you may be able to, you know, a plan deferred doesn't mean that it's not, I mean, a dream deferred doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to do whatever it is you dream to do. It's just for right now, you got to put it on hold. So that's my takeaway.
Okay, good. Anyone else? Faye, I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, it goes back to what Chanel was saying earlier on, in terms of when I step out on faith. You know, I just have to get that, build my confidence up, pray to God, and step out on faith, and, you know, not limit myself when it's time for me to apply for those jobs. You know, being consumed with what it's saying in the job description, you know, being discouraged basically, and just step out on faith and just apply for it, whether it applies to me or not.
Right. And again, don't eliminate yourself. Let them eliminate you, because you never know what God has in store.
That's true. Mm-hmm. And thank you for that. Thank you, Chanel.
Yep. Absolutely.
And even if they do say that you're not right for the position, then okay, then that's just a place that you don't need to be. You might be, that door might be closing because it might be something that's going to cause you more like grief. So push until you find a place that you do fit in.
And then also, like you said, Chanel, with getting that interviewing experience as well.
That's what I was going to say. Get that interview experience. And then if they say, you know what, you're not a good fit for me, ask why.
Why?
You know, why are you not going along with me? So this way, you know what it is others are looking for within that industry, within that field. So you can take that feedback and take it on to the next position or the next interview. So absolutely.
I agree.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other final thoughts before we end tonight?
Yes, and I just have one more comment. Another thing is, when we're looking at applying for different positions and too, we have to be honest with ourselves. Are we able to do this position? Don't just look at it, just say, oh, this is what I dream, this is my dream job, this is my this, and they make this much money and they do this, do this. Just like Cookie said, some of those people that work at the department where she work at, some moms sitting back with their feet kicked up, they ain't doing that, somebody that's doing the job. But you never know who interviewed them, how they got in there. But you gotta look at it this way. Some of these jobs people getting into, okay, I'm gonna say, okay, you allow your interview, you allow your resume, but the next place you go in there, somebody gonna be seeing, can you do this? Well, you know you can't do that. And that's what happens. A lot of people go in there allowing these interviews and allowing the applications like they can do all this work. But when they give them the work, they can't do that. So either we educate ourselves on what we're trying to do. If we know we don't meet the part for these things, if we know those positions are not right for us, sometimes we just want it because of the money. We don't know what we're doing. You know, not saying we don't, but some people don't know what they're doing when they apply for stuff. It just sounds good to them. But when it comes down to that work, now, stuff is work now. You don't get paid for nothing. But the people that's getting paid for nothing, that stuff about to get cut out. I mean, look at it. So, I mean, that's just my advice to give, you know, even for me. I can't go on my website and say I do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. People gonna call me and ask me. They're gonna challenge me. And if I can't do it, then what that does is make me not credible. And that's what you don't want to be. You always want to be about who you say you are. You about your game. You know you run your stuff. So that's and I like this platform today because we building each other up. You know, we building each other up on what we need to do. All of us don't have it all together. I ain't got all my stuff together. I'm listening to Chanel because she heard Doc. I'm like, dang, you know. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I need to get halfway there. You know what I'm saying? I need to go back to school and get some more things too. But we building each other up, and that's what it's all about. If I see one of my sisters needing some help with some, what more can I say? I don't have it all together. Let me help her because it's going to be something you can help me with later.
Yep, absolutely. And to also piggyback on what Tanisha just said, even if you don't know a skill, and this is where I'm a believer in don't eliminate yourself from a job. Even if you don't know a skill, YouTube can teach you a lot of stuff. Like there can be something that you're not too sure about that you can take a quick class in, an Excel class on YouTube or something like that to build that skill up, and then you can get in there and learn the skill as well. Because there are a lot of people that fake it till they make it, and I hate that term. Not that I hate the term, but I don't think you should fake it till you make it, but you get in there and you learn as you go. Because there's a lot of us a lot of people that don't look like us that don't do that, and they go to their subordinates to say, hey, I had an idea, what do you think about this, and then try to take credit for it, but they're learning in the process of doing that. And sometimes you may get into a role, and I mentioned this at the beginning of the call, you may get into a role like the one that I got into. I didn't know anything about being a human resource business partner, and the first 6 months I sucked. I was horrible, but I had co-workers to help me, say, okay, do it this way, or think about it this way, or think about it that way. And then now I'm, efficient in my job. But I didn't know I literally had to research the job title of a human resource business partner because I had no idea what human resource business partners did. But I got, the income that I wanted. I got the experience that I wanted. And I did it because I stepped out on faith and I said, God, it's all you. It's all you. You got me the position. You got, I'm here now. I'm just going to have to run with it and try to figure it out.
Another thing too that people may look for, and I have suggested this to like new teachers, because sometimes people say, oh, well, we want people with experience in X, Y, Z, like you said, Kanisha, but you can say, this is the skills I'm coming in with, and I would like to know how you can fit into my professional growth plan. What type of professional development do you offer? So you like turn it a little bit to say, yeah, I got these skills, but I think your business can help me grow even more. And based off of my research of what you offer in terms of the way you move in this sector, I think that, we would be a good fit for each other as I grow professionally. And that could be an asset to you as an employer.
And both keep in mind also when you're job searching, and Eric too, when you're job searching, it's not about you finding the right job for you. It's also them them finding the right position for a right person for their job, but it's also you finding the right job for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, am I gonna grow? Am I gonna come in with 99 skills and leave out with 99 skills and not gain anything else from that? You want something that, like Chanel said, how can you help me grow and develop, and what training you offer and all that. So you're putting them on the spot too, like, okay, you need me. What can you offer? How can you develop my skill set? How can you grow and develop me? And then that's also, and that's something that people look at too, HR people look at too, like, oh, this person wants to come in and grow and develop and grow within the company. But that's also something to, to look forward to, keep in mind, is that you want to also make sure that this job can grow where you are. You don't want to go in there coming out the same person.
And looking at the culture of the company too. Yeah. Like that's really important, because a company's culture, not just towards like growth and development or professional development, just like their people culture. So what are their hiring practices? Are you the only one? You know what I'm saying? Like,
why is this job available?
Why has it been available a number of times in the last couple of months? Like, those type of things is important too, because that can also make or break the time that you're there. And then you'll be on looking for another job again, because they are, not good. A good place. That's not a good place to work.
Yep, absolutely. And Tanisha added into the comments, what can this job add on to you? Which is very important. You want to grow. You want to grow and develop it and take those skills to somewhere else if you choose to go somewhere else. But you want to go into a job and not just be effective, but you want to grow personally and professionally as well. So that's very important. Any other final words before we end tonight? No? Okay, good. Thank you so much, guys, for spending my birthday with me, talking about the things that I like to talk about, which is, workforce and just jobs and growing yourself professionally and personally. As always, I thank you again for joining us this week. And Chad, apparently his project ran over. He just sent me a text. It was like, I guess you're solo tonight. I'm like, well, Chad, I guess I am. How about that? But we will be back next week, where we're actually talking about, and this was a suggestion that came in a little bit after the one that we got about the stagnation, from Tanisha, and we're discussing the COVID vaccinations and everything that surrounds, are you going to do it? If you did it, why did you choose to do it? Are you kind of hesitant to do it? And why are you hesitant to do it? So that'll be next week's topic. And as always, thank you so much for joining me. I was going to say us, but thank you so much for joining us. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you. Have a good night.
This was very nice. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I never stayed to the end.
I know. I would say, you stayed all the way to the end.
Yes. Y'all have a good night.
Once again.
I'm sorry, Ray?
I said happy birthday once again.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Good night, ladies.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So Chanel, you need to get your butt and do the daggone